Hello, Adam Zaghloul here, Vice President of Strategy and Planning at NTG Clarity. We just released an updated investor presentation, and the link to the document is in the description. But I'll use this video to go over some of the highlights, talking about who NTG is, what we do, and why we're a good investment. I need to start things off with a disclaimer. Nothing in this video should be taken as investment advice or financial advice. A lot of the statements are forward-looking and not statements of fact. These statements are based on the current beliefs of management, as well as assumptions based on management information currently available. Forward-looking statements are subject to various risks, uncertainties, and other factors that could cause actual results to differ from these expected results. So readers must rely on their own evaluation of these uncertainties. So with that out of the way, I want to start with who are we? Who is NTG? At its core, NTG is a digital transformation service provider, and we've been providing these services to large tier one customers in telecom, finance, utilities, enterprise, and government sectors since 1992. We've got 600 employees, more than that now, spread across our offices worldwide. Some of the offices include Canada, the United States, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Oman, and Turkey. From a stock perspective, we are a $4.4 million market cap company on the TSXV Venture. Our ticker is NCI. Had $17 million in revenue in 2022, 45% of which is recurring revenue. And we're coming off of a few record-setting quarters. Every quarter so far in 2023 has been record-setting, so we're setting ourselves up to reach a targeted $27 million in revenue for 2023. In terms of what we do, NTG's offerings can be broken down into two categories. One is professional services, which is 85% of our revenue with a gross margin of about 37%. And the other is software products as well as their implementation and support. And that's 15% of our revenue with a gross margin of about 50%. So I'll take a high-level look at each one of these, and I look forward to in the future going a little bit more in depth with each one of our offerings and exploring them further. But just as a high level, the first category, professional services. What this boils down to is the contracting out to our customers of basically staff augmentation resources for IT, software development, and telecommunications. So what we'll do is they can either be offshore, so our resources will work in our Egypt offshore center in Egypt for our customers around the world, or it could be on-site where our resources are relocated to work on our customer sites. But in addition to professional services, we'll also do custom software development, systems integration work, as well as user training for some of those systems. The other category is software products, as well as their implementation and support. Our flagship product is NTG Apps, which is a low-code platform that helps businesses deploy either ready-made enterprise apps or to build their own from scratch with no code to handle their day-to-day business operations. Some use cases are, for example, IT trouble ticket management and telecom field service management. Another one of our products is NIS, the Network Inventory System. This is a product targeted at telecommunications operators, which will tie in to their existing network of active equipment and work for asset management, network discovery, and reconciliation purposes. So basically, it'll go out into the network, ping all of the active equipment, bring back its status and configuration, use that as an asset management resource, but also compare it to the design configuration and basically do a reconciliation of what's in the field versus what was planned. And finally, NTS is one of our longest standing products. It has primary use cases for utility billing and field service management for utilities, telecommunications, and IT customers. So I want to talk a little bit about NTG's journey and the milestones that have led us to where we are today. In 1992, NTG International was founded in Canada with a focus on seminars and training for general technology. In 1997, NTG expanded to work with telecom field services and network and circuit design. By 2001, NTG was ready to go public as NTG Clarity by a reverse takeover. And in 2002, NTG Egypt, which is our Egyptian operating branch, was founded to focus on enterprise resource planning and telecommunications software development. And this is where our products of NTS and NIS got their start. In 2005, we were ready to expand into the Gulf region, so Saudi Arabia, Oman, Kuwait, and Qatar. And business as usual continued until 2019, which was a milestone because that's when development on our flagship NTG Apps low-code platform started. In 2020, we saw the expansion into the financial sector, which included many of the major banks in the Gulf region and Middle East. And in 2021, we saw the expansion of our newly established offshore offering. So that was our expansion in opening our Egypt offshore center to really take advantage of the demand in that market. And that brings us to present day in 2023, where we've achieved 2 years of profitability with our focus on this lucrative offshore professional services model. So why invest with us now? What makes NTG Clarity a good investment in 2023? It boils down to new management, our focus and expansion onto new sectors, and our new offshore professional services model, all coming together to result in never-before-seen growth. In 2020, we expanded to offer our professional services to the financial sector, which especially in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is growing very rapidly. Everything's undergoing a digital transformation there. So in 2021, we established our Egypt offshore center to hopefully meet this demand, serving as an offshoring hub in Egypt. And it's important to note that offshore staff can give our customers up to 50% cost savings, but also are deployed much faster and have a higher margin for us when compared to on-site resources. And also, newer, younger management is taking the helm and working with our veterans, many of whom have 30 or more years of experience in digital transformation, to really bring our new proprietary and innovative products to market and service customers, many of whom we have a long track record with. And all this results in really rapid, never-before-seen growth. I like to look at this chart in the bottom right. The green bar talks about revenue, and the stacked bars on the right talk about expenses. So cost of sales, operating expenses, and interest. And as you can see in the 2019 and 2020 range, we were not profitable. We were just sort of starting our focus on the offshore business model. We'd signed our first couple of customers in the financial services market. And that brought us to 2021 when we reached profitability. And we had this focus on expanding our offshore professional services model. And that brought us to 2022, where we can see, again, another year of strong revenue growth. And that brings us to 2023, where we're projecting the growth to continue. And as you've seen in the press releases, we've got 3 record-setting quarters so far this year. And hopefully that'll bring us into about a $27 million revenue for the year of 2023. I want to take a second to look at our balance sheet. I get a lot of questions from investors about our balance sheet, so I thought I'd devote a whole slide to it. But the important thing to remember about NTG's liabilities is that they are 65% management owned. And a little bit of the backstory on this is prior to our offshore professional services model, we had incurred a lot of debt from bank creditors. And this was essentially called back in 2019. So the bank called the debt, but it was assigned to a numbered Ontario company, which was controlled by NTG's CEO and NTG's president. So this appears as $6.5 million of non-current liabilities. But in the contracts with that Ontario numbered company owned by NTG Management, there are no repayment terms, and the effective interest rate that's been charged is less than 1%. So the debt is extremely safe. The debt's extremely cheap. Also, as a result of that same restructuring, there are $2.8 million of current liabilities reflecting management dues due to that restructuring. So all in all, that's $9.3 million, or about 65% of the liabilities that are management owned, safe, and low cost. So taking a look at the graphs at the bottom of this page, the shareholder equity as it is on our balance sheet is negative $4.8 million, but taking into account this 6.5 plus $2.8 million of management owned liabilities, we start to see that because they're so safe, the shareholders' equity starts to appear positive when adjusting for this $4.5 million. And of course, we're going to use our continued profitability to pay off those debts on the books. But for now, I just wanted to give a sense of where the shareholders' equity would be without this really safe and really cheap debt. As another result from the operations that led up to the restructuring, there are $15 million of tax losses currently on the books for NTG. And it's possible they'll see this as an asset because they'll offset our future earnings. So a combination of basically tax credit on our future earnings, as well as the majority of our liabilities being management owned, really means that the company is in a much stronger position than a first glance of a balance sheet would tell you. So I want to take a quick look at a few of the key statistics for NTG. So as of the end of November 2023, we're sitting at a stock price of 3 cents per share with a total market cap of $4.4 million. The total amount of shares outstanding is just shy of 150 million. But what's very interesting to note is a pretty favorably low price to earnings and price to sales ratio at 3 and 0.25 respectively. Now this really shows that the market could be undervaluing a company, especially a company that's growing as fast as NTG and has as much momentum going for it. Now, insiders and management are heavily invested in the continued growth of NTG, with insider holding currently sitting at about 40%. So we're really looking forward to seeing this growth continue. And this growth can definitely be seen in the recent contracts chart on the right here. So it's really interesting to compare this version of the contracts chart with the one that showed up in our last investor deck, because the deal sizes have really seemed to go up by about an order of magnitude. On the last chart, we saw a lot of deals in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, with the odd one in the $1 million range. But this time we're seeing consistent deals in the millions of dollars, with this one big contract from April 2023 sitting in the $10 million range. And we are collecting on those contracts. So since April 2023 alone, with this last big contract, we've received $17.3 million in POs. So we're receiving POs, we're collecting on them as well, and that can definitely also be seen in the constant growth in quarterly financials graph that we see along the bottom here. So I'll talk about our current and past customers. This is specifically North America. You can see major sectors are telecom operators. We've worked with Bell, we've worked with Rogers. You can also see financial institutions, the Bank of Montreal, RBC, CIBC, and also government players like the Government of Canada, as you can see here. If we take a look at our current and past customers in the Middle East, a lot of the same categories. We have Al Rajhi Bank, Sima, Al Inma Bank in the financial sector. We also work with large telecom operators, Saudi Telecom Company, Etisalat, as well as Vodafone. So we start to see we have large, reliable tier one customers in both North America and the Middle East, and this really helps us diversify our business and really ride out any ebbs and flows in regional markets. When it comes to corporate partnerships and alliances, we have 30 years of software development experience, including system integration. So we have experience with Oracle products, Microsoft products, IBM, Cisco. We really have the experience to bring systems together using our services. And that's it. I want to thank you for watching. I hope that this cleared up a few questions that you had about NTG, who we are, what we do. If you want any more clarification on anything, feel free to leave a comment or shoot me an email. I'd be happy to get back to you. But I'm looking forward to seeing you again in a future investor-focused video. Thank you.